My problem was the tops of my feet was all numbed, and when I was walking around, I couldn't even feel the stairs in the house. So I went to my doctors, and she said, "You've got diabetes, and what it's done, it's affected the tops of your feet, and the little veins in your feet, it's more or less destroyed them." So I said, "Cool, and what with the pain, I can't sleep of a night even." So she said, "Oh, what we can do then," she gave me about nearly 100 painkillers, which I only took a couple because I thought I'm not going to continue taking all these painkillers. It was like sharp pain. It looks like someone was going to cut your foot off. That's how sharp it was, the pain. And you couldn't even sleep of a night with it. The turning point for me is when I was outside and it was the Rainbow Theatre, and then I thought I'd come in to see what it was all about, because I used to come in here as a boy when it was a cinema. And then I thought I'd come in to view it because I was looking for a great church, but I could understand what the bishop was talking about, and it puts your mind in rest. So I thought I'd come in, and like I say, when I did come into the church, it was the church for me, because I could understand what the bishop was talking about. The sound in the building was so great. Because it was a cinema, he didn't have to speak so loud, and everyone could hear what he was talking about. When I did leave the place, when the bishop did pray for me, and I went outside, all my feet was back to normal, and they've been back to normal ever since. And I haven't had no problems. Tablets and everything's gone back. I don't take no more. So, like I say, I'm back to normal and can walk anywhere and go up and down stairs, no problems. And that was through the power of God in this church, what's helped me out and got me out of trouble.
Good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. I would like to start the program tonight with an analogy that may even sound very silly to you, but I have a point, I have a strong point to make. Imagine if I gave you a hammer and a nail, and you have a wooden board in front of you, and I would say to you, listen, you have one chance to hit this nail and drive it all the way through the board, but you can hit it only once, and it's a long nail, and you have to put it through in one hit. If you don't do it in one time, in one hit on the head of this nail, then I say to you, it's impossible for you to put this nail through the board. What would you probably say to me? You would say, Edward, come on. That's not realistic. It's not impossible to drive this thing through the board. I just have to hit more than once. If you tell me just once, it's not enough. It's a long nail. I have to keep hitting it. Let me hit it maybe 10 times or more, then I'm going to be able to put it through. Don't tell me it's impossible just because I hit it once and it didn't go all the way in. So the same analogy works to many other things that are important in life. There are things in life that when you do it once, when you try it at first, you don't succeed. But in that occasion, if it's really important to you, all you need to do is to get back up and try again. And keep trying, because you can do it. It doesn't matter that it didn't work for you on the first or second time. Many things you can achieve, things that are important dreams, goals that you can accomplish, but it takes trying. It takes this attitude of getting back up and trying again. Learning from what went wrong, learning from the mistakes made, reassessing the situation, making an intelligent decision, adjustments. This is what I'm going to change. I'm going to try a different way than doing it again, without second-guessing yourself. And a lot of people don't do that. And they are living below the standards they want to live in. They are very limited when they could be enjoying a much better quality life. Actually, this is the topic of tonight's Finding Answer. Get back up, and try again. You can do it, and we are going to show you it's possible. We're going to go to a short break now, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about this important topic.
Do you have a barrier in your life? What do you do when you fail something? If you are running away from failure or just about to give up on something, this is the time to get back up and try again. Not only can you learn from these failures, but they will make you stronger. The next time you experience a similar barrier, you will now be equipped with the skills to fight and overcome these problems. When experiencing negative events, there are a number of positive ways of looking at them. It may be a wake-up call to notice all the good things that you have had in your life that maybe you hadn't been paying attention to. It gives you an opportunity for learning, growth and improvement. It may encourage you to start to appreciate yourself, even when things don't turn out the way we want them to. And finally, it challenges you. Challenges you to make adjustments in life or to rethink your approaches. By learning to see your challenges as opportunities, you can take your power back from the situation, circumstances, and outcomes of your life. Having the ability to appreciate difficulties, learn from them, and use them to your advantage can give you an important insight into who you really are and how to create success and fulfillment in a conscious, deliberate, and authentic way. So, whatever you have experienced, take that experience and get back up and try again.
Welcome back to Finding Answers, and maybe you're watching us and saying, Edward, this sounds very nice, it makes a lot of sense, but much easier said than done. Where do I get the strength and the courage to try again when the failure, when things didn't go okay for me, brought me a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, and now my head is overwhelmed with doubt? We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you in this program how you get the strength. And I have with me tonight Victoria. Good evening.
Good evening.
So Victoria, the topic is get back up and try again. What's the view of psychology on this topic? What do you have to say to us?
Well, I would mainly talk about the barriers that you have. So there are things such as learned helplessness, which people can learn from failing over and over again. So if you're subjected to a negative situation over and over again, what happens is you start to learn, or you think you've learnt, that you will never succeed, and that's called learned helplessness. So people will then say they've lost their job, they won't then get up and look for another job, they might become homebound, it can lead to anxiety and even the development of phobias, because they think that the situation that they need, maybe even finding a relationship, finding new friends, they just avoid at all costs because they believe that they will never succeed.
So, is it right to say that a more positive approach would be a more rational one rather than an emotional one?
Yeah, and the way that you would treat this would be using something called cognitive behavioural therapy in psychology. So what that introduces is the concept of behaviour, but also cognitions. And cognitions are our thought processes. So the way that information goes into our brain, the way that we process it, and the way that it's shown in our behaviour. So
yeah, sorry to cut you off, because what makes sense to me is to think like this. Okay, I tried something and I failed. So, of course, that nobody's going to be happy about it. Nobody enjoys failure. But if I'm going to try a second time, I can say that I'm going to use what I learned from the previous experience, and I am much more well equipped to make better decisions now. So basically that's what it would be, right?
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that very successful businessmen will use, or women obviously. They take their experiences and they learn from them. Whereas other people might be more affected by maybe embarrassment. They will become shy because they don't believe in themselves. So it can have something to do with growing up, other experiences, your family. So it just is exactly what you say, and it's the way that you take those experiences and use them.
Can someone that tends to be more emotional, held back by their feelings, by the negative feelings caused by the failures, learn to be someone more rational and develop this learning ability?
They absolutely can, yeah. And sometimes it's quite simple. People don't realize that maybe a couple conversations with somebody, maybe some therapy, or coming to a church and learning lots of new skills, you absolutely can relearn how to be just able to go out there and do exactly what you want, even though you've experienced hardship in the past.
So we are already speaking about one very important step. Every time we fail, our emotions will react in a negative way. As I said before, and it's obvious, nobody enjoys trying something and not making it. Our emotions will not respond with joy. It's going to respond with frustration, anger, feeling that I'm a failure. But I cannot act on these feelings. I cannot make decisions based on emotions. I have to have a more rational approach, which is something that you can do. Doesn't matter how many times you failed. You can learn from this experience. Make a rational decision. Take a piece of paper and write down, things that you could have done differently. Things that you thought they would work out, that certain way and they didn't. What can you change? What you need to adjust? And not only writing it on paper, but make a plan. Start a plan. What actions I need to take? Maybe I can elaborate 10 steps I need to take. But I don't have the strength to take all the 10 steps, but I have the strength to take 1 or 2. And if I just take this 1 or 2, it's leading me closer to my goal. I can remember here one instance, if I'm not mistaken, it was Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb. And it is said that he failed thousands of times when he was trying to develop the filament, the thing that goes there in the center of the bulb. It was too short-lived. And someone, a reporter, if I'm not mistaken, asked him, Mr. Edison, what is it going to take to convince you this thing can't be done? How many times you have to fail? More. And he said, listen, let me correct you. I didn't fail. I discovered thousands of ways that do not work. So it's a very positive way of looking at things. He decided to see things this way. I discovered many things that don't work, but there is a way that it's going to work. And there's light here in the studio right now, probably where you are too. Some light is there, at least the light of your TV, so you see it's doable. So it's important. If you would like to contact us, Victor, if people would like to speak to us here on the show or find out about finding answers, how can they contact us?
So you can speak to one of our advisors at any point during the show. Our number is 020 7686 6300, or you can send us an email and I can read that out live on air. Our email address is help@findinganswers.tv, or you can talk to us via social media. Send us a tweet, just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or find us on Facebook, just search for Finding Answers.
Very good. So we're going to go to a short break, and I have with me after the break Isaac, someone who had serious problems, who failed many times, but he's going to tell us how he turned failures into success. He's going to tell us his story after this.
Uplifting.
Diverse.
Vibrant.
Dynamic.
Powerful. Youthful. Informative.
Energizing.
Passionate.
Motivational.
Freedom.
Lively.
Excitement.
Are you a duck? What can it do? It swims. It walks. It flies. But does it do them all well? Yes, a duck can do all of the above, but it's not known for being great at any. So, are you a duck? Rather than attempting to do all things, why not be the best at one thing at a time? You will find you'll actually learn to be great at more things.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Our live guest tonight was the victim of bullying. He used to hear voices. He had severe issues. He was suicidal. I'm going to speak to Isaac Frimpong, who is going to tell us how he overcame these problems.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
So, Isaac, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
So, tell us, where did the problems begin?
Okay, so as a person, when people would meet me or would speak to me, they do not notice that I had any internal issues because I was very well behaved, very well mannered as a person. I came across very nice. So as the appearance of me, it wasn't as though I had any issues. But the main problem began when I started my secondary school, around year 7 or year 8, when I was bullied because I didn't know how to speak fluent English. By that I mean there are certain slangs or certain words that kids my age were using, and because I didn't know how to use those words in my own speech, I was being bullied for that. And at first I thought it was a joke, so I kind of carried on with that, but it went on for a good 8-9 months. And from there, that's when I became a bit insecure, and that's how my problems began.
Mm-hmm. So this remarks made in school, secondary
Yes.
school,
Yes.
right? You couldn't communicate properly as the kids would.
Yes.
The bullying affected you how? How did you,
So
what person you become?
from before, I was someone that would speak up. So let's say I was in a classroom and I want to answer a question, I would easily answer. If I want to ask a question, I would put my hand up and ask a question. But after being bullied, I refrained from even speaking within classes because I knew that if I spoke, the people that were bullying me were around and they would pick up on what I said. And after the lesson, they would either continue bullying me or make a hint of that. So from being bullied, I was very shy. I didn't want to speak up. I became very reserved as a person. I wouldn't open up to anyone easily. So when I meet someone, I would try to keep the conversations very short. I'll not try to elaborate on what I was speaking about. I'll just keep it as simple as, hello, how are you, thinking, and try to run away. Mm-hmm. I didn't want anyone to get to know who I was for fear that if they knew who I was, they would also bully me in the same way that my friends or the people that were bullying me were doing currently. So from being bullied, that's how I was. I was very, very reserved. I didn't want to be out in the open again for fear of just being attacked.
So this bullying was like constant?
It was constant, yes.
Every time you went to school?
Every time. There were times that it would stop, but it was mainly during lessons and during break times when, for instance, my friends would be making a joke. I also want to make a joke, and I just join in, but then I get bullied and I get attacked. But everyone that joins in doesn't get bullied, attacked.
I can imagine that at some point, going to school to you became like a nightmare.
Yes, because it came to a point that people that are called friends, so when I say friends, I can speak to you about anything, they also caught up with their bullying terms and started to also bully me. And they all thought it was a joke. It got so bad that at one point I remember I was in a classroom and something that was happening outside of the school. We could all hear sirens. I don't know what's happening outside. And one of the bullies made a funny remark, and everyone in the class laughed, but the teacher didn't really say much. And that, for me, felt like there was no way out, because I wasn't confident to tell people that I was being bullied. And for the teacher to also see that in front of him and not say anything, that was very hard to take in.
You felt betrayed.
I felt betrayed.
Right? The teacher who was supposed to defend and protect
Yes.
the student didn't do it. The people that were, even the ones that were closest to you, ended up bullying you too.
Yes.
From that to the point of becoming suicidal, how did it escalate into that?
So from having those bullying constantly, from that incident that I just mentioned, for me, when I went through that incident, I thought the only way out was to kill myself or to end my life, because it got to a point that I couldn't be myself for fear of being attacked. And I thought, if I can't be myself, then what can I be? I must as well just end my life. And that's how I began to hear those suicidal thoughts. And I remember when it first began, it was, I was in a history lesson, and when I first had the thoughts of killing myself, I remembered previously in the school assembly that someone also killed himself for being bullied within our school that I went to. And from hearing that being mentioned in a school assembly, I decided not to take any action, but the thoughts were there to end myself, to end my life, and to kill myself. So that's how it began.
You didn't open up to anybody about that?
No, no one knew I was suffering from this suicidal thoughts. I thought it was normal because people hear negative thoughts. So I thought these were just temporary thoughts that will come, but will also leave. So no one knew I was being bullied, and no one also knew I was then later on suffering from suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, that's one major problem, especially with men. More severely with men. There's more women than men on this planet. However, the rate of suicide among men is much higher than suicide among women. Why? Because basically men have this tendency of not looking for help. The guy is telling you one day, no, I'm fine, everything is okay. You ask him, how are you? No, I'm just fine. The following day he's committing suicide, he's jumping off a building because of this idea. If I look for help, I'm weak. Women are more easy to open up, to talk to, especially to another woman about what's going on, and you know, the other will sympathize. Men are not like this. They have to be tough. And maybe you are watching us right now and you are like this. The problems you have, nobody else knows, but you know that you are falling to pieces. You know that your life is hanging by a thread. You think you have extinguished your options. No one understands. You feel that you cannot open up to anybody. When you tried, they made fun of you. They treated it, you know, they just, your friends or family just dismissed it, said, oh, it's nothing. But to you, it's not nothing. It's something that is, you know, destroying you. So we are here to help. You can call us now. You can speak to us live. If you don't want to speak to us live, you can call and speak to an advisor. You don't have to give us your name if you don't want to. You can call us anonymously, 0207-686-6300. It's an opportunity that you are having to get help before it is too late. And I say to you, if you are alive, if you're watching me now, then it's a sign it's not too late for you. So at some point, you started hearing voices.
Yes.
How did it begin?
It was, I think it was in my bedroom, and I was about to sleep, and I was just contemplating on the events that happened during the day about how I was being bullied and how that has been happening for a very long time. So it began from thinking too much about what I was going through, about the fact that every time that I would go to school, because you go to school Monday to Friday, so much of the time you're being bullied. And when you come home, your parents and your family think everything's okay because you don't open up. So it was, that thought process was just in my mind. So I was just thinking about that, and that's how the thoughts began. Because I was just constantly thinking about how can I escape how can I escape the bullying? How can I escape not being treated as everybody else? And that's how the thoughts started coming on, kill yourself because no one likes you, no one cares about you. when you go to school, no one listens to you. So that's how the thoughts began. So kill yourself because no one likes you, because no one cares for you. Every time you speak, you get attacked for who you are. So you might as well just end your life because no one likes you.
These voices, were they voices or thoughts?
It started as thoughts, but then it became voices. So when I say voices, it was as clear as me speaking to you. But when I would open my eyes to look around, no one was around. But I can hear someone speaking to me. It was that clear, telling me to either do this or do that. And it wasn't positive things, it was all negative things.
It wasn't you at all.
It wasn't me.
It was something external, you could say, an external voice.
Yes.
What were these voices telling you to do?
So at times, for instance, I'll be walking on the pavement and I'm about to cross the road in a zebra crossing, but the thoughts will either try to tell me to not cross at the zebra crossing, but cross when the car's coming. So that in that way, I end up killing myself, but it wasn't me killing myself, if you get what I mean. It wasn't me actually inflicting harm on myself. It was me just doing something, and as a result, something happened. So for instance, you were crossing the road and the car hit you. That wasn't your fault, but in a way, it was your fault because you didn't look. So it was something simple as that, as in crossing the road at the wrong time. For instance, let's say I'm in the kitchen or just cutting up maybe onions or maybe carrots. The thoughts will come, why don't you use a knife to cut yourself or to kill yourself or to maybe to stab your heart or some part of your body. Sometimes whilst waiting for the train on the platform, the thoughts will come, why don't you just jump onto the train platform, onto the tracks? Or why not just before the train comes, why not just jump off? So those were the thoughts, to the point I wasn't confident even standing on platform edges. I would just stand all the way back because I knew that if I stand close, it would be there.
Have these voices ever told you that you are strong?
No.
That you are handsome?
No.
That you are going to make it in life?
No.
It was always something negative.
Yes.
To hurt yourself.
Yes.
Did they tell you to hurt others?
There were times whereby I was speaking to someone, for instance, and the thoughts would come, why don't you just hurt that person? And the reason behind that would be, if I hurt that person would attack me back. And if I do inflict harm on that person may react in a certain way that would possibly end up in me being killed as a result, and that would end up my life. So that's how the thoughts began, as in attack that person. If you do and that person responds, it can be severe, and if it's severe, you can kill yourself, so why not?
So you see, this is a clear indication of spiritual problems. This is evil spirits. These voices that he was hearing were voices of evil spirits who are real. The same way that you have God. You know, we have to understand that it's something that even Jesus Christ said. Out of the same spring cannot flow pure water and contaminated water. If you have two kinds of water, pure and contaminated, evidently there's two different springs. So to think that everything comes from God, both good and bad, it doesn't make sense. God is good by nature. That's how his word presents him. God is good. He's not evil. A lot of evil is going on in this world. Lots of it. And the orchestrators of this evil, where does the inspiration come from? That's why I was asking him. If it was just a disease, if it was just a condition, I wonder why the voices are always bad. Maybe you struggle with hearing voices. Why don't these voices say to you, you are strong, you're gonna make it, you know, you're handsome, you're beautiful, tomorrow will be better than today? No. Every single person that I come across doing God's work, I'm doing it for 19 years. Every person that I met that said they hear voices, it's always something negative about their appearance, about their character. Why? Think about it. Why, if it's just a condition, why it's always negative? Why don't we have one voice that says something positive? Because evidently the source of the voice is evil. The idea of the devil as a figure with red skin, horns, cape, tail, and a pitchfork is is cartoonish, is unrealistic. That's not who he is or how he presents. This is how evil spirits work. This is how they show themselves. Through voices, thoughts. What leads a father to kill his own children? A husband to kill his own wife? Sometimes for no apparent reason. Everything seems to be okay. They were not even having problems with each other. Innocent children. Where does the inspiration come from? These are questions that we have to think about. This is how evil presents itself. Not as we see in horror movies. It has nothing to do with zombies, with monsters, and you know, stuff moving around in the house. That's not. But look at what was happening to him. You don't hear these voices anymore.
No, I don't hear anymore.
Right? You're going to talk about how you overcame this in a second. But if you don't understand the source of your problem, if you have a spiritual problem and you are trying to resolve it in a way that is not tackling the root of the problem, you're not getting anywhere. That's why you have tried so many things probably and nothing has changed. Anything about your situation. Because you haven't tried God. Listen to me. I'm not talking about a religion. You don't have to adopt a religion. I don't have a religion. I have faith. I consider myself a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in God and I have seen Him change my life and the life of numerous people who decided to give Him a chance to work in their lives. But we are speaking about faith. You need God's help. If you're going through something like this, there's no explanation to your problem. It's not a coincidence that you are watching us. You can call us. You have the number that appears on your screen. You can send us an email. But please, don't wait. Call now. What have you got to lose? You lost so much already. He overcame. You can also overcome. When we come back, you told me there was a very terrible moment in your life.
Yes.
Stay with us. He's going to talk about it when we come back.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020-7686-6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
As a man, I understand the struggles men like me go through. They need to be strong always and not to show any weakness, even though it's there. To be a leader to our family, to our wife and kids, when we really wish someone else would show us the way. To choose what is right in a world of wrongs. To admit to our mistakes when our egos don't want us to be exposed. To learn to be a man when we're still only a boy inside. Being a man is not easy. But hard is also a part of being a man. We don't like anything easy. We want challenges. We want to prove that we can do it. That we are bigger than the problems staring us in the face. That's why we go to the moon, we climb the Everest, we sail around the world, and build fast cars. We like the feeling of accomplishment. And please don't ever tell us it can't be done. we will die trying. Being a man is not easy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And yet, the true conquest of a man is not measured by his money, power, or fame. His greatest achievement is to overcome himself.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and family as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is get back up and try again. I'll be asking the general public what they do once they've failed at something. How do you get back up and try again? Let's find out what they say. What do you usually do when you fail at something?
Normally I'm down for a day or two and then I get myself back up. I'm like, well, you just get over yourself and get on with your life. There are harder things in life than this. So.
Yeah, just look for support from friends and family and just dust yourself off and try again.
I see how I can change it and like work further from the failure.
When I fail at something, usually I go back home, see and like think about why did I fail, and I kept on trying and trying and trying, because it has in your life you have a lot of no's, but it only takes one yes to get what you want to get. And I'm a singer, and I heard a lot of no's and a lot of yeses, and I came to London to see how it goes with music. So I'm used to fail a lot and succeed a lot, but here I'm used to listen to a lot of no's.
So we're back with Finding Answers and with Isaac. So Isaac, there was a moment that was the worst.
Yes.
Tell us about it, please.
Okay, so as I was telling you, I was going through suicidal thoughts. And this started when I was 17 and carried on for a good 4 years till 21. And my lowest point was when I was doing a placement in a car manufacturing company as part of my degree. So at that time, I was still hearing the voices, but on that day, it was very severe. And I was also going through hallucinations on that very specific day as well. So, and this time, I didn't have any strength to resist. Usually, I can resist the voices. So when I say resist, I will not do what they told me to do. By this time, I just didn't have any strength within myself to resist, that I just gave into the voices. So it was telling me to, it wasn't things to hurt people, but it wasn't good things either. For instance, I ended up going to, in the place that I worked, they had like a mini cafeteria. So I ended up going there, buying a coffee, but I didn't pay for it because I felt that I didn't have to pay. And even though the cashier tried to call me back to pay, I didn't listen, and I went back straight to my bed. Because the company, as I said, also deals with car manufacturing, on that very specific day, there was a brand new car that was delivered. And in my mind, the voices said to me, I didn't even know the car was delivered, but in my mind, the voice said to me, go to the car park and there'll be a red car waiting for you. And I was like, okay. So I got up and I just listened to the voice. I was like a zombie in a sense, because I couldn't have my own thoughts. I was just listening to what I was being told. So I just carried on listening to voices, and I found myself in the car park. I didn't go through the normal routes to the car park. They had an entrance, the fire exit entrance, because I knew you're not supposed to be there. because they had security passes to go through. So I went through the fire exit path, and I found myself looking at a brand new car that was delivered on that very same day, and the key was stuck outside. And because I had a driving license, I knew how to drive. So I just sat in the car and decided to move the car. And from moving the car, that's when the person in charge of that area came and asked me, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I'm just taking my car. And he's like, "No, you're not taking the car." And he got me out, and from there, he called the police. And he called the police because he noticed that I wasn't well mentally. And he spoke to the ambulance. I found out later. He spoke to the ambulance. But because of my condition, they didn't want to come for fear that I would harm them. So they sent the police instead to take me to the hospital. And that was my lowest point.
Right. And even though the suicidal thoughts were there for, you told me about 4 years.
4 years, yes.
You never really tried to commit suicide?
Never.
In that sense, you resisted the voice?
I resisted, yes.
And off camera here, I asked you the question without knowing if you suffered with strong headaches.
Yes.
And you told me you did.
Yes.
Very intense ones.
Yes. So it was as intense as though someone was hitting me on my head with a hammer. It was like my head was about to explode.
And I was telling him, these headaches were not normal. They were the consequence of him resisting these voices, resisting the will of evil spirits that wanted him to do harm to himself and to others. By resisting these evil spirits on his own, there was like a punishment. Because when evil spirits, they're attacking someone, when there's a spiritual attack on a person and they refuse to resign, to submit to the will of these evil spirits, they're going to attack. They're going to bring more problems. Strong headaches. I didn't know him. I just met you today, right? Yes. But when I mentioned headaches and you said yes, it's because we know. We've been doing this for a while to learn some patterns, some things that usually happen when people try to resist. Actually, we can resist evil spirits. You know, God tells us to do it. He empowers us to do it, but we need to do it with His help. To overcome an evil spirit, I need to use the strength of another spirit that is stronger than that evil spirit, which is the Spirit of God. And in this sense, the church can help people. By the way, how did you find out about the church?
I was on my way to the gym one day, and I was invited to come to a youth meeting that was happening in the church. And from there, that's how I started to come to the church.
Right. So we don't have a lot of time, Isaac. We're coming, really down to the wire in minutes. But tell us, how did the church help you overcome?
So when I first came, I didn't want to open up because of my previous history.
Of course.
But I saw changes within myself in the sense that I was very happy, I was very confident, and I just felt happy every time that I would come to the church. So I stayed a while, and by coming, I started to put into practice what I was hearing from the services, mainly on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, where the service I was attending. And from those services, I was getting messages that I would apply within my life. And it came to a point whereby there was a vow purpose being made in the church, and I took part in that vow, and I wrote down my request to ask God to help me to overcome whatever that I'm feeling within myself, like the suicidal thoughts, the hallucinations, and all that bullying that was happening within myself. And by taking part in this vow that was being offered by the church, that's how I managed to overcome. I did things that I would normally not. I did things that would push myself to show to God that I wanted to change. And by doing that, God helped me to overcome. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult, but I had support from the advisors. The youth pastor was one person that was really helping me. And I remember when I was very, very low, he was the one that spoke to me and said to me, "You can do it." And from those words, I just remembered and I said, "I can do it." And that's how I changed.
What branch of the church do you attend at what location?
I attend the Plasto branch.
Plasto,
yes.
Plasto 1, okay. So now you don't struggle with these voices anymore?
No.
Totally free?
Totally free.
No more headaches?
No more headaches.
No more?
No more.
Gone?
Gone.
The struggle with the bullying and the trauma?
That's also gone.
How do you feel today inside? Who is Isaac today as a person, as a man?
Today, inside, I'm very light, because at first I felt very heavy, but right now I'm very light within myself. I'm a very confident person, and I come across as very funny, which I don't intend to be, but I just come across as very funny. So there's a new side of me that people have been noticing, that I'm very happy as a person, and it's like I just want to live more. Before I just wanted to end my life, but now I just want to live more.
What are you doing today, by the way?
Right now, I'm currently about to finish my degree in software engineering. So I'll graduate sometime in July this year. And from there, I want to be working, hopefully, in Google.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and we hope you come back, right?
Thanks.
With more strong stories, which I'm sure will come. But you see, how did the church help Isaac? We didn't give him medication. We didn't medicate him. Of course, we wouldn't do it. We're not qualified to do it. But why did the headache stop? Why did the voices stop? Because the spirit was removed. It's something that with the power of God can be done. And if you are the victim of spiritual attacks, no matter the situation, if it's because of an addiction, drugs, alcohol abuse, hearing voices, you can be free. You don't have to live with this for the rest of your life. Sorry, but how long? You told me it was about 4 months.
It was about 6 months.
6
from
months.
Coming to church. That's how.
So you see, what is 6 months to someone that has been struggling with this problem for years? I mean, give yourself this chance. It's your life. You deserve it. And once again, if you want our help, it only takes a phone call. 0207 686 6300. You can call and speak to an advisor right now. And if you feel, compelled to do it, don't resist it, because it's God calling you to help you to change your life. We're going to pray in a few minutes. You can prepare a glass with water. We have ours here. So after this short break, we'll be right back with the prayer.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
The UCKG Helpline Call Centre is open 24 hours a day, every day of the week, all year round. If you need help due to a serious problem you may be going through, if you feel that you have nowhere to turn to and desperately need someone to lend a listening ear, then we can help you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have done, your religion or race, your call will be answered by someone who genuinely cares about you and has your best interests at heart. We also arrange home visits for the housebound and hospital visits for anyone in great need of kindly human contact. Whether it is simply information you want or desperately need someone to talk to, we're here for you on 0207 686 6000.
Follow My Channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favourite videos and see pictures of your favourite artists. Access our Twitter @MyChannelUK and get to know what's on with My Channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
Welcome back, and we are coming to the final moments of Finding Answers tonight. And I'd like to pray with you. I'd like to invite you to pray. Receive this prayer if you want. Prepare a glass of water. Evidently, not every problem is spiritual. Of course, there are problems that come from bad decisions, lack of direction, lack of vision, physical problems, but these are the ones that are solved with counseling, with direction, with therapy, with medication. But when you see yourself in a situation where you have tried everything you know and nothing has worked for you, you can be very suspicious that you are under spiritual attack. And when that is the case, prayer is the beginning of change. That's why I would like to pray with you right now.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your financial life, send your name and a prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
God, you know the intention of our hearts, and that we are here with only one intention, to help this person that no one else wants to help. That's right. This man or woman that is watching us now, that is alone, left out, feeling abandoned, despised, rejected. In this moment, all the so-called friends turn their back on this person. There's no one to help. But there's where your strong hand comes in to rescue the one that feels lost. I know that you care, Lord, about the ones who have nobody. All that you need to work in their life is one small step of faith, a simple word, one single word, just to say help, is going to say everything. It is going to give you the go-ahead, because even though you are God, the most powerful creature that exists, still you are humble and polite enough to wait for an invitation. So even if this person doesn't have the strength to say a word, maybe they are saying words with their hearts, with their minds, they are appealing to you. Please come in and rescue this person, this viewer now. Rescue this person from this pit. Help them break this fall, my Lord. Break their fall and uphold them. So this day that is about to start may be a positive one, a turning point. Help this person walk in a different direction. I ask you to bless this glass with water, and the moment they drink it, I ask you energize them to take the necessary steps to start over, to get back up and try again. This is my prayer, and I thank you, God, because I believe you heard my voice. And if you too agree, you can say amen and drink the water. That's all from us tonight. And remember, tomorrow, Wednesday, we have a very special edition of Finding Answers. Thank you. It was a pleasure being with you. See you tomorrow.